Cool. So, no one's currently on except for myself, but I thought, you know what, let me try this again. Let's see if YouTube is going to take down this stream for another time, all right? So, so I'm going to basically be doing the same thing that I attempted to do last time, and if my stream gets shut down again, who knows, I might just give up. Uh, basically, Yeah, it looks like someone's coming in. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, I'll be reading live chat if you guys have anything to say, or if, but yeah, and if you're watching this afterwards, like as in after the stream is over, then just feel free to leave comments or whatever if you have any clarifying questions about the tutorial. But basically, what I'm trying to do today is I'm going to do a tutorial for this flower right here. Now, this flower is a you may have seen me do it last time or something if you were there for when I was trying to do the stream that failed on my channel because YouTube or Google took it down rather. Basically, this is a traditional model, and what that means is it dates so far back that we don't even have a reliable author for it. So that means we can just publish it whenever we want like this, and it doesn't violate any copyright whatsoever. So without further ado, I think we should just get right into it. Oh, and one last thing though before we do get into it is you may have seen me hold this thing up in the title, and this is not a traditional model. This is a model that someone else designed. But if we get to that point in the live stream, then I will at least try to give a tutorial of this thing. But I thought we'd start a bit simpler at first, so why don't we get started, right? Okay, so you're going to start here with a square sheet of paper. Mine's probably not perfectly square, but that's okay because you don't really need perfect squares. That's if it's a little bit off, that's okay. You can just improvise, right? So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be folding the diagonals of this. Like that, right? So as you can see, I've folded the two diagonals of the paper, and it's end like right there's the center. But now what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over and fold it horizontally and vertically in half. Like this, and then you unfold and do it like this. And as you might be able to tell, I'm struggling a little bit because my paper is not perfectly square, but that's okay. Now what you're going to do is once you've done that, you're going to notice the paper tends to like kind of bowl up a little bit, and that's exactly what we want to happen. What you're going to do is you're going to take these two corners here at the sides, and then you're going to bring them down to the bottom corner like so, and then you're going to take the top corner and flatten it so that it looks something like this. Again, if you need some more clarification, you're going to take these 2 points, move them downward along the existing creases, and then flatten it like so. There are some people doing work in our garden, like mowing it and stuff, so if that interrupts, then I'll try and speak a little bit louder, but I don't think it should be that much of a problem. Anyway, once you've done that, you'll notice that this resulting thing has 2 flaps on this side, 2 flaps on this side, and a thicker point up here at the top, and 4 smaller points here at the bottom. You want, right now I'm pointing the thicker point toward myself, but you want it to point away from you. I'm just pointing it like this so that it's easier for all of you guys to see. What you're going to do is you're going to take a finger and put it into one of the pockets here on one of the flaps, and then open it up like this. So you take a finger, put it in, and that will open it up like this. And then you're going to bring it over and squash it down so that the crease lines up with the middle of the model, and that you get something sort of like this, right? You're going to then fold that back and then do the same thing on this side. So again, open up the flap, open it up and squash down. Like so. You're going, and then take this one flap here and fold it back. Then you're going to flip it over like this and do the same thing on this side. So open it up and squash it down, and then do the same thing on this end. One thing that I find a lot of people, or that you'll find in a lot of books, is they'll teach like the basic folds first, and I personally may try and do a video like that where I explain basic folds, but I personally prefer to get the people who I'm teaching like directly into the spirit of things, because that way they get to do something that they want, and then you can just teach them things like squash folds, like what we did, or reverse folds along the way. And because just practicing on them on their own, it's a massive waste of paper. But anyway, what we're going to do now is we're going to take one of the flaps and fold it over so that it looks like this, and do the same on the other side, so that you have 4 flaps on this side right here, and then 4 flaps on this side right here. Then what you're going to do is if you would like, I personally find this to be a little bit helpful, is you can take the bottom edge, like the first flap only, the bottom flap, the first one only, and then fold this edge into the center line, like so, so that it looks something like this. Right, then you'll unfold it and do the same on this side. So that it looks like this, and then unfold. Then what you're going to do is take this edge of paper here, lift it up, and then it will cut, and then at the bottom it'll kind of collapse on the creases that you just made. So it'll be like this, and then you'll just keep pushing it up at the top, so that the edges at the top will meet in this point right here. And if again, let me do this again for clarification. If you pull it like this, at the bottom they'll sort of collapse in on themselves. At the top, if you just keep pushing backwards, like pushing like that, you'll get something like this, right? And the edges don't have to meet perfectly at the top. Especially if you're just doing this for the first time, a lot of simple models are kind of forgiving, and you don't need to give them your entire effort of precision, right? Now you're going to do the same thing on this end, or on the other side rather. So fold the edges in, unfold, pull up the edge, it'll collapse in on itself at the bottom, and then just keep pushing up towards the top. So that it looks like this. And then this point up here should be folded down like this, once you've got it that way. Then what you're going to do is fold to the left 2 flaps over so that it looks like this, and then do the same on the other side. So it should look like this on both sides, and guess what? We're going to do the same thing again on these 2 sides. So fold the bottom edges into the center like so. Open it up and sort of let it collapse in on itself, and then and then it'll look like this. And then fold the flap down, like so. And then finally, do it on this side. As far as I know, my stream isn't down yet, so that's nice. So once you have it like this, you're going to fold one flap to the right or to the left. It doesn't matter. Just make sure to fold it to the same direction on the other side so that it'll look something like this. Now you'll notice that just like before, we have one thick point here at the top and 4 thinner points grouped here at the bottom. This time, you want the thick point away from you again. Or actually, you want it pointing towards you. I'm just pointing it away from me because it's easier to teach that way. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the bottom edge and fold it so that it meets the center line, like this. And it should look something like this. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Both of these are one flap to the center at a time only. All right, and then once you have this, you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Once you have it like that, you're going to fold 2 flaps over so that it looks like this, and then do the same thing on the other side so it looks something like this. And then do the same thing on both of these sides. Down like this, and then keep it that way and turn it over and do the same thing on this side. So it should look something like this, and then very carefully you're going to fold 2 layers over to the left or right or whatever direction, and then fold 2 layers the same way, and then do the same thing with the front and with the back. So it'll look something like this now. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take the petals that are in the horizontal. You'll notice the whole model kind of just opens itself up like that. And that's basically it. What I like to do is I like to curl the petals a little bit against my finger, like that, so that the petals have a little more of a natural look. And then that's it. That's the petal. Or that's, what am I saying? That's the lily flower, all right? So there we go. I noticed some more people are coming in and that my stream also hasn't been removed yet. So now we're going to try something else, something that I think is a little more complicated, but that I think produces good results. And if you weren't here for it, this is the thing that we're trying to make. Unfortunately, I don't have any more paper that's like blue and white at the same time that's big enough for this. So I'm just going to be using this sheet of copy paper. And to be honest, I've never done that before. It'll yield some interesting results. So before we begin, I'd like to say that this design is not mine. It's It is by Peter Engel in the book Origami Odyssey. And yeah, we're giving credit where credit is due, right? So you'll notice that I started this model with a diagonal line in the center, like this. And if you were doing this with origami paper with color on one side and white on the other, you would want to do this with the colored side up. But regardless, we're going to turn it over so that the paper diagonal is that you folded is going from your top right to your top left to your bottom right. Yeah, it's kind of confusing folding upside down, but anyway, you're then going to take this top edge here and fold it down to the center line like this. But you're not going to do the same thing with this edge. You're just going to keep it like this. Then you're going to turn the model over so that it looks like this. And then what you're going to do is fold down the top portion of the model so that you get a fold that goes through here and is perpendicular to this edge. And you'll notice that when you do it, the corner that you folded from the previous step will come up. That is natural. You should definitely allow that. And when you do the fold, it's going to be, again, intersecting through this part and perpendicular to this edge. And then you're going to turn this over. All right, now what you're going to do is you're going to fold it so that this is the result that you get. Basically, if we turn this over to the other side, you're going to fold along this edge right here. And so it's going to end up looking something like this. All right. Now what we're going to do is you're going to go to this side of the paper right here with, and you'll notice that this is now the tallest point of it. If you're orienting the model like the opposite way that I'm doing it, I'm folding it upside down for better viewership on the camera. But if you but if you have it like this, then what you're going to do is take this point right here and fold it down so that it meets this corner right here. And it should look something like this. And then you unfold it, and from here, from the point where the fold you just made intersects with this top diagonal edge, you're going to fold the corner down from that point up there to this point down here, the corner, the little flap. So it should look something sort of like this. And you'll notice the fold goes from the intersection of that fold you made previously to the edge and down to that flap right there. So it'll look something like this. And then once you've got that nice and creased, you're going to unfold. And right now, this is going to be the hardest step of the model in my mind. So what you're going to do is open up the entire paper, and basically what we're going to be doing right now is you're going to take this part and make it go down. And how we're going to do that is step by step. If I hold up the paper like this, you can see the crease pattern, right? And you're going to fold along this fold right here. So that now instead of being a valley, it's going to be a mountain like this. you're going to do the same thing on this fold right here, so that instead of a valley, it is a mountain, right? And then the entire model is going to look like this. You're going to pinch that little piece there so that the whole model looks something like this. And now this fold right here and this fold right here need to become valleys instead of mountains. So in making that, it should look something like this, and then something like this. I know that's kind of hard to see right here, but once you've done that, it should kind of be falling sort of naturally into place, and you can just flatten it and then fold down a bit, crease down hard on the top edge so that it lies as flat as. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to take this thing right here, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold along an existing crease. There's a crease right here, as you can tell. You're going to fold that so that the flap should look something like this, and then swing it up as far as it will go so that it looks like this. Right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to fold that flap down, and your model will look something like this. And this is sort of where you can start to get a bit more expressive with this model, right? What you can do things like folding this thing down a bit, and then like behind that there's another dull point-ish. If you undo the fold that you just made, you can get a bit more expressive with it as well, and just fold down like this. Basically, this model's it's going to be hard to be unique in every iteration that you make it. So our attempt is not to try and do it, but just to make a new rendition of the model. So that's usually the way that, and that's the way that I'm going to do it. Actually, maybe I'll fold it a bit down more like that so that it looks something like this. And then with this flap right here, what you're going to do is, yeah, I kind of went a little bit out of order, but that's okay, because you should have done these first and then the ones other anyway. I'll include that in the corrected version when I upload it again. Anyway, what you're going to do is take this flap right here and fold it to this edge right here. So it will look something like this. Right, once you have it like this, again, you can kind of be a bit expressive with these as well, and just you don't really have to be precise with this. I like to then fold it down, the point down like so, and then fold the point across so that the new fold meets with this intersection right there. So it'll be something like this right here, and then fold the point across again, and then I'm just going to repeat that process to make another point like that. And then what you're going to do is you're going to fold this up from this point up here to anywhere along here. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a precise thing, so that you'll make the first wave and the biggest one in the model. It should look something like this, all right? And if your paper is kind of thick, like mine is, you may have a bit of trouble getting it to flatten. but just keep it under a really thick textbook, like the biology textbook that we have for at Wheaton College, and just flatten it overnight and once the model's done, and you should be okay for a while, or just keep it in a picture frame. The whole thing is going to be 2D anyway. What you're going to do now is we're going to work on the second wave. So take this point right here, and again, you can be sort of expressive with this. You don't have to be incredibly precise, right? You're going to fold it up like this, and then what you're going to do is you're going to fold this little point down here, and so this edge right here, you're going to sort of squash that toward the middle, like we did in the like we did in the lily flower. And then that point, and as you'll notice, it's not going to lie flat. From where that point, that fold meets the place where you folded the big point up, you're going to then make another fold all the way to the top point. So it will look something like this. And then what you're going to do is you're going, and again, you don't have to be fully precise with this. This is just the way I'm going to do it. What you're going to do now is fold this point, this edge, down to this edge right here. And then it should look like this. If you're following what I'm doing, you're going to take this bottom edge down here and fold it up to the top, to this edge right here, like this. And then you're going to fold the point down, like by any amount, like so. And I'm just going to keep doing it. Like I'm going to fold a little bit over like so. You can't really see it because my fingers are kind of blocking it. So I'm going to fold over like this and then fold down. And that's going to be it for my second wave. If you had bigger paper, you could make bigger, like more curvy waves, but I'm going to stop there for now. And then just like the first wave, what we're going to do is fold from here to any undisclosed point. So it will look something like this. Now we've got 2 of our waves done. We just need to get the final one done, and that's going to be in this corner that's hidden right here. And this one is a bit harder to get out. So behind that point, what you're going to see is a little pocket like this. You're going to take the point right here, and then it'll kind of be something like this with the point right there, as you can kind of see, right? Then what you're going to do is you're going to fold this little complex here, this little thing here, so that the fold is vertical. And you may notice that the paper down here in the little groove is not cooperating. That's okay, we'll make it cooperate eventually. It should look something like this. Don't flatten it too flat yet though, because what we're going to do now is we're going to take this, we're going to basically turn this little thing inside out. Basically what that means is you're going to take this top point right here and then sort of undo it like so, and you're going to reverse some of the creases on it. So that it ends up like this. Actually, hold on, that's wrong. My bad. My bad. That is wrong. First, what you're going to do is what you're going to do instead of doing what I told you to do is go into this pocket right here and push out the loose paper like this, and then fold it down a bit flat so that it looks sort of like this. Then you're going to take this tiny little flap here and fold it behind so that it looks something like this. Actually, hold on, that's wrong. Also, you're not going to do that. Do not do what I just told you to do. Instead, you're going to take this little bit right here and push it behind, sort of, so that if you were doing this on a multicolored paper like blue and white, all you would see is white, like this. Again, what you're going to do is you're going to take this and sort of push it behind like this, and then flatten it. It's not going to, the small wave usually isn't going to look the prettiest at this time. And then what you're going to do is take that tiny little piece and fold down, and this is going to be just like the ones we just did earlier. And that means you don't have to be perfect. In fact, you don't even have to do much folds at all. I'm just going to leave it like that. And then fold it back up so that you kind of have a tiny little wave right there. Now, I hear what you're probably saying, like, what are we going to do with this bottom little strip right here? Well, don't worry about that, because that can also be just however you want. Just the point is that you're going to fold it up, and you're both going to try and cover up the bottom portion of it, of the waves, as well as try and make some little burrows in it. So as you can see, what I've done is I've folded this thing up, and folded this corner up, folded this corner up at slight diagonals, then taking this little bottom point here, folding it up like so that we kind of have a base. And then from here you can just go a bit crazy. And what I like to do is fold down here, take this and fold down twice so that you get something like this. And then with this, I'm going to fold the corner down, and then behind, what we're going to do is we're going to just make a mountain fold so that the flap swings upward. If you were looking at this from behind, you would see like this. And then taking that corner and folding it down twice to get a little bit of a blunt thing. And that's it. That's how the waves are going to happen. You might notice that it's not going to, it's going to be waving around a little bit, no pun intended, but all you need to do is just sort of flatten it down. Yeah, I do agree. Better lighting might be appreciated with this. I'll be sure to try and check that later on. But basically, it's going to, once you have like this, you're going to take a book like I don't know, something like this, and then just squish it down like this. And if you have a heavier book, like let's see, I have a heavier book right here. If you have a heavier book like this 1,000-page biology textbook, all you need to do is plop it on overnight and it should be okay. Anyway, I'm glad that YouTube didn't take down my stream like last time. I was intending to go a bit longer, but I think we got down 2 models well today. So I'll just let this stop soon, and then anyone who wants to see it later can see it later if on their own time, all right? And they can fold the things that we made today, like the lily and the waves, all right? And if you guys, if any of you have questions about this, regardless of when you're watching this, you can just leave a comment or something, or even sending me emails and stuff is okay. But regardless, those are the origami tutorials for today. Um, and wherever you are in the world during this time, whatever you're going through, I personally wish you all the best. Have a good day.